Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com. I just got up. It's the morning after a day of fights. Heavyweight championship in the UK. The Manny Pacquiao Antonio Margarito fight here in the United States. I had a late night. I have not had breakfast yet. Just logged on to YouTube. I see my account has exploded. I've looked on my message board. I've seen a bunch of comments. Let's talk about what happened yesterday, in particular, what happened in Texas yesterday. And I'm going to try to direct my comments to two different groups. One, pure boxing fans who want analysis on what happened in the fight, and gamblers who want to talk about the bets that were being offered and what happened in the casinos. Right now, yesterday, we made three picks. I made three picks, right? David Hay over Audley Harrison. That went well. Um, Guillermo Rigondo, pronounced Rigondio on HBO on their telecast, over Ricardo Cordoba. That went well. And Antonio Margarito by KO over Manny Pacquiao. That last one didn't go well on the A bet. Gamblers, though, know that in my week of the fight video, the straddle I recommended was Antonio Margarito to win, right? Expecting the KO in rounds 5 to 7, straddled against the over 9.5 rounds at odds of plus 110 and plus 120. Right now, keep in mind in this fight, you can check your casino. Manny Pacquiao was anywhere from a minus 300 to greater than a minus 500. If you're a gambler, and I'm just talking to the gamblers at this early part of the video, if you're a gambler, then and you had a plus 120 on the over 9.5 rounds, you actually made money. In fact, let's just quickly do the math. People know I believe in the importance of straddles. If you put 100 on the over 9.5, and keep in mind, the only reason we're dealing with these odds is to get around the Manny Pacquiao minus 500 odds, right? And to participate in what I thought was the most likeliest outcome of the fight, an Antonio Margarito victory. If you put 100 on the over 9.5 rounds and put 100 on Antonio Margarito to win, as I suggested, then if you got a plus 120 on the over 9.5 rounds, you won 120, more than enough to offset the Antonio Margarito part of the bet, netting you $20. That's a $20 profit. Also, think about it, right? If you're betting 200 and you win back 20, those are 10 to 1 odds. You literally got half the profit that you would have gotten had you taken Manny Pacquiao to win at minus 500. So gamblers should have made a profit as long as the straddle, as long as the over 9.5 rounds was even money, plus 100, or higher, right? Then you either broke even or made money on a fight in which you picked the wrong guy. I cannot emphasize enough how important structuring the bet is. I'm here this morning relatively happy simply because that straddle held. Let's now talk about the actual fight itself, the one where I thought the most likely outcome was Antonio Margarito to win by KO in the middle of the fight. You know, Margarito, I know on HBO, if you're in the United States and you saw that telecast with that commentary, that's the one I saw. The judges, or rather Harold Letterman, had Manny Pacquiao winning every round. And, the announcers, Emmanuel Stewart, Max Kellerman, Jim Lampley, I told you it's early in the morning. They thought, they thought, this is choking me up. they thought that Manny Pacquiao was dominating the fight. If you were rooting for Antonio Margarito, and Tony came in as Tony, no excuses. He was Antonio Margarito last night. If you were rooting for Tony Margarito, you thought he was going to be, at least I thought he was going to be too big for Pacquiao, and that he was going to win by knockout, not decision, right? You weren't expecting Margarito to dominate the judges' scorecards. You thought he was going to dominate the action, not the scoring of the fight, right? I wasn't looking for Margarito to win a decision. I was looking for Margarito to win by knockout. I was looking for Margarito to be able to get Manny Pacquiao up on the ropes, just like Ricky Hatton got Manny Pacquiao up on the ropes. And I was expecting Margarito to throw punches to Pacquiao's body, slow down Manny Pacquiao, and then to take him out. You know what? Look at the fight. Margarito got Manny Pacquiao up on the ropes, hit Manny Pacquiao with some withering body shots, could not finish the job. Manny Pacquiao, in my opinion, was in jeopardy at different times of that fight. He did win the fight, going away on my scorecard. All praise to Manny Pacquiao. He's a tremendous fighter. He certainly did much better than I anticipated he would do yesterday. But make no mistake, there was a huge size difference in this fight. Antonio Margarito was making headway. Antonio Margarito did get Manny Pacquiao up on the ropes against Manny's will. This isn't the Cotto fight. This is a situation where Antonio Margarito did back up Manny Pacquiao, did get him on the ropes, did force Pacquiao to fight back, did hit Pacquiao to the body, also landed a punch I thought he would land. He landed several uppercuts in the fight, did hit Manny with uppercuts, simply did not finish the job, did not have the ability to keep Manny pinned on the ropes. What was astonishing to me is Margarito would hit Manny hard, hurt Manny, then Manny would take a step back and come back in right away. Pacquiao has a tendency to try to strike back immediately. Pacquiao would come back right away to, you know, hurt Margarito, give his own response to Margarito hurting him. Against a slugger, that's what the slugger wants. In other words, could you imagine if I'm George Foreman or Rocky Marciano or Mike Tyson and I hurt you and you're actually sticking around to continue fighting? That's what I want. I don't want to chase you. I want you to stick around and to try to make this a machismo contest. Unfortunately, Margarito, for some odd reason, would hurt Pacquiao. Pacquiao would then fire off a combination, stick around, trying to unring the bell, trying to show the judges that, he was going to undo any damage done to him. And Margarito with Pacquiao right there in front of him, granted, with lateral movement a little bit off the side, just couldn't finish the job. At the end of the day, speed and elusiveness beat size and power. And I give Manny Pacquiao all the respect. But if you're a Margarito supporter, you had at least 3 moments in that fight where you thought that the fight was going to end in your guys' favor. Let me point out, too, that I watched the fight in a crowd, in fact, on a sofa with a very hardcore Manny Pacquiao supporter. And, I got to hear, as you could imagine, the Manny Pacquiao point of view from start to finish in that fight. And I can tell you, and I'm sure hardcore Manny Pacquiao fans watching this video know, that the mood in the room was that Manny Pacquiao was being tested in a way he hadn't been tested since the Juan Manuel Marquez fights. In other words, I think even Manny Pacquiao fans know this morning that their guy got tested yesterday more than he got tested against Hatton, Cotto, or Clottey, right? And let me also say, too, that the testing was being done by an underdog that was conservatively a plus 300 underdog. If you look at your casino, you're going to see that most casinos had Antonio Margarito, a plus 375 and higher underdog in this fight. I know after the fight, people say, oh, public sentiment was right. I'm just here to tell you that at those odds, and keep in mind, and I'm being conservative here, a plus 300 underdog means that if they fought 4 times, the underdog would win only once, right? He would lose 75% of the time. Keep in mind, that's what 3-1 means, right? That means out of 4 outcomes, you only win one. I think we all know the fight was closer than that. In fact, Manny Pacquiao himself, after the fight, admitted that he was hurt at different times in the fight to the head and the body. I would encourage everyone to look at the post-fight interview. Just look at Pacquiao's face. Manny, quite frankly, looked like he'd been through something grueling. He talked about Antonio Margarito's size and strength. I thought that size and strength would rule the day. I concede that it did not, but I will say that it does feel nice to know that the over 9.5 rounds did hold. Let me also say this too. The most important punch in the fight, in my opinion, is the punch that Margarito referenced after the fight. I thought Tony was doing very well in that fight, even while he was losing early rounds, until Manny Pacquiao hit him in the solar plexus. That body punch, and I know Pacquiao did a lot of good things last night, but that body punch that slowed down Margarito really was the most significant punch of the fight, because I thought Margarito didn't have his legs for the next round of that fight. In other words, the rest of that round, Margarito looked a little bit ridiculous. And then the beginning of the next round, I thought Margarito was in serious jeopardy. I thought that punch was much more significant than the punch that cut below Margarito's eye. Understand that a cut above the eye is much more dangerous because the blood then flows into the eye and blinds you, while Margarito was cut and it looked grotesque under the eye. Every time the referee stopped the fight to ask him how many fingers he had up, Margarito was able to correctly identify the finger count. While his vision, no doubt, in that eye was impaired, I don't think it was as impaired as the cut suggested. Finally, let me just say this. The Mike Jones fight before the Margarito fight, I'm a big Mike Jones fan. I know Mike Jones is royalty in Philly. They were throwing out names, his mentors, Joe Frazier, Bernard Hopkins. Quite frankly, let's call it as we see it. I thought Mike Jones lost that fight. For those interested in the future of the welterweight division, knowing that you have so many big names, including Andre Berto at 147. That Mike Jones fight is the fight I would look at in analyzing the weaknesses of Mike Jones. Let me know what you think, positive and negative. Trust me, the YouTube community always does. I've gotten a bevy of comments today. I thank the new subscribers who've joined me since yesterday. I'm guessing many of them are appreciating the straddle on that Margarito fight. Let me know what you think. Give me your analysis, plus and minus, on all of the fights that took place yesterday. David Hay, Audley. Hay simply too fast for Audley Harrison, hits too hard. Rigondo, as well as Margarito, and of course the great Manny Pacquiao. I concede, even I, a Manny Pacquiao skeptic, and I have picked him in many fights, including Hatton, including Cotto, including Clottey. But I was more of a Manny Pacquiao skeptic before yesterday. He really looked good to me. I give him a lot of credit. The best thing Manny Pacquiao did in my eyes was when he was up on the ropes and Margarito was turning on Tijuana tornado type pressure. Manny kept a clear head. He is a very bad dude. Let me know what you think and visit us at gamblersadvisory.com. Congrats to the Manny Pacquiao crowd. You rule the day. Thanks.